say Ace Frehley's death was natural. Others whisper that it was strange, that he fell, that maybe someone pushed him, or that it had something to do with the stress and heartbreak he carried for years. What really happened to the legendary Kiss guitarist in his final days? Why is his cause of death still not fully explained? And why did his funeral become one of the most emotional and mysterious moments in rock history? Stay with us till the end, because tonight, we're talking about Ace Frehley's shocking end, the questions people are still asking, his heartbreaking funeral, and Paul Stanley's unforgettable tribute that left everyone in tears. It all began on a quiet morning in early October. The news spread like wildfire. Ace Frehley, former Kiss guitarist, dead at 74. The statement was short and cold. Cause of death under investigation. But behind those words, there was a story that no one could fully explain. There were no witnesses, no timeline, no clear answers about where or how he was found. Some said he was in his New York home. Others claimed he was in a recording studio working on new songs the night before he passed. Fans started asking, what was he working on? Who was with him? And why was he alone? People close to Ace said he had been acting different during his last week. He was quieter than usual. A friend revealed that Ace had called him 2 days before his death and said something strange. "If anything happens to me, don't let them twist my story." Those words made everyone wonder what he meant, and who he didn't trust. Rumors began to spread. Was it health problems, a hidden illness, or maybe a relapse? Or was there something emotional that finally broke him? Ace had struggled with fame, with the band's fights, with losing control of his own legacy. The tension between him and Paul Stanley had been going on for years. Brothers in music, but rivals in everything else. And yet, after Ace's death, Paul and Gene Simmons stayed silent. For weeks, they said nothing. No public tributes, no comments. The silence felt strange and almost painful. For fans who grew up watching Kiss together, it felt like something deeper was being hidden. 2 weeks later, the family released the funeral details, and even that surprised everyone. The service would not be held in Hollywood or any big concert hall. It would be private, in a small church near Yonkers, where Ace grew up. Only close family and true friends were invited. The guest list was short, but powerful. Gene Simmons arrived quietly, wearing dark glasses, his face tired. Peter Criss, the original drummer, walked slowly with a cane. Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer stood at the back, heads bowed. And then, the doors opened, and Paul Stanley entered. Alone, dressed in black, holding an old guitar case. The entire chapel went silent as he walked in. Whispers filled the room. Some said the family didn't even want him there. Others said Ace had actually asked Paul to come, no matter what happened between them. Before the speeches began, one of Ace's old friends stood up and said something shocking. He said Ace had been writing a memoir before he died, a book called Out of Orbit. In it, he had written about betrayal, loneliness, and how he felt erased from his own story. But the last few pages of the manuscript were missing. No one knew where they went. Some said they were stolen from his home the night he died. Was someone protecting his secrets or hiding the truth? When Paul finally stood up to speak, the mood in the room changed completely. Everyone held their breath. For years, their relationship had been a mix of love, hate, and history. But at that moment, it wasn't about the past. It was about saying goodbye. Paul began slowly, his voice trembling. Ace once told me, "Paul, when I'm gone, don't say you miss me. Just play something loud enough to shake the walls." The crowd gave a soft laugh through their tears. "I thought he was joking," Paul said. "But now I think he knew his time was coming." He took a deep breath, reached into his pocket, and pulled out an old silver guitar pick. "This was his," Paul said. "He gave it to me before our first big concert. He said, 'If I mess up, you keep this. If I don't, you still keep it, because we're in this together.'" Paul placed it gently on top of the casket. "We didn't always get along," he said, his voice cracking, "but we created something that will live forever. The makeup, the lights, the madness, none of it matters now. What matters is that the music was real, and so was he." Then, something unexpected happened. As Paul stepped away, a faint sound came from the speakers near the altar. It was Ace's voice, recorded long ago. First, laughter, then his words. "If you're hearing this, I guess I finally made it to the stars." And then, that unmistakable sound, his guitar. A raw, emotional solo filled the chapel, echoing through every corner. The crowd froze. Some closed their eyes. Some cried openly. It felt like Ace himself had planned his final performance, his last encore. Even Gene Simmons, the man known for never showing weakness, was seen wiping away tears. When the music ended, the room stayed silent for a long moment. No one moved. No one spoke. Then, quietly, one by one, people began to approach the casket, laying down single white roses. Paul stayed behind till everyone left. A chapel worker later said that Paul stood by the coffin for a long time, whispering something only he could hear. He said, the worker recalled, "You were right, Ace. It was never about fame." Later that night, Paul finally broke his silence on social media. He posted just 6 words, "The stars are quieter tonight, Ace." That one sentence broke millions of hearts. Fans across the world shared stories, pictures, and memories. And yet, even with all the love, the mystery still remained. What caused Ace's death? Why were there no clear answers? Was it just his heart? Or did something else happen that no one wants to talk about? No official report has been released yet. Only silence and questions. But maybe that's how Ace wanted it. He always lived between chaos and calm, between laughter and pain. His death, like his music, was mysterious, powerful, and unforgettable. People say real rock stars never truly die. They just fade into the sound they created. And if you listen closely, somewhere out there, in a bar, in a car radio, or in your memories, you can still hear Ace Frehley's guitar crying into the night. A sound that refuses to be forgotten. A legend that refuses to fade. And a soul that finally found its stars.